I can't believe I'm gonna say it, but I think these might be the best Joy-Cons available for Switch. All right, this right here is the DOYOKY wireless RGB controller for the Nintendo Switch. And basically it is like the BinBok, Hyperions and all those kind of controllers, but this is DOYOKY, which is the same as BinBok, but this one has a secret. See that right there? With Hall effect joysticks. That's right, these actually have Hall effect joysticks. So usually we see potentiometer joysticks in these, and that has been my biggest criticism. For ages, I've been saying to them, please do Hall effect, and they've been like, maybe one day. Now they've done it. We've got 6-axis gyro, we've got vibration, wireless, turbo, macro, and lighting mode. Boom! The Joy-Cons themselves, we get a USB-A to USB-C charging lead. We get our manual, but I don't need that. And then we've got our like docky thing, which I'll quickly show you in a second. And then we've got the Joy-Cons. So these right here are the Joy-Cons. And yes, they look exactly the same as the BinBok ones previously and the other DOYOKY ones that they make because, you know, they're the same, but these are definitely better, and I'm going to tell you why. But let's just slide them onto this so you can see how large these are. So this does make it quite big, but to be honest, it fits really nicely in your hand as like a dedicated controller. I actually do like this. So it's nice and big, and the good thing about that is you get good grip, good angle as well for your right thumbstick, because I always find that offset angle a little bit uncomfortable, but not when there's a good amount of ergonomics here. So there is good ergonomics with this controller. I do really like this, but obviously I'm going to mainly use this as handheld rather than like as an actual controller. Yes, they have a wake up console or wake from sleep or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, straight away you can notice the colors. But the thing is, that's not all. We now have RGB like rails around the side, and I really like it. I really like it because before we've just seen like around the sticks or whatever. This is like OTT, right? You've got RGB everywhere as well as around the sides, and you can change it as well. So you can press turbo and then like click it in and it will change, you know, the color essentially of this. And if you double tap like this, well then it goes into like breathing mode, turbo, and then plus. And then that's going to change the color of the rails, but not the top here. So you can have different colors of the rails as well as like the buttons themselves, and you can put like breathing into them as well, and that's pretty cool. So I do actually really like the fact that you can change the color of the side rails as well as, you know, the face buttons. But to be honest, I've been just keeping them all one color because I like purple, so I'm going to put them back to purple. There we go. But yeah, you can change the rails and the front, and you can turn them off as well. So if you don't want RGB, which is obviously going to kill the battery of these, you can turn them off. But the controllers themselves, this is what they look like. This is the right side. We've got our face buttons, and to be fair, they're not sticky and horrible. They work really nicely. The triggers, tiny little bit mushy, but honestly I don't have an issue with them whatsoever. We've got a joystick, which we'll talk about later, and on the back panel we've got the like MR and ML, which is our programmable macro paddles. We've got vibration just here, so there's 3 sets of different stages of vibration as well as off. We've got a macro button as well. On the front, we've got our home and our turbo button. On the left side, we've got our screenshot button, our turbo button for this side, and then we've got a minus button. We've also got our joystick on the top there. The triggers are, you know, the same as the right sides, which is really nice. They're consistent. We've got our ML button just here. We've got our own vibration for this side as well as our own macro for this side as well. And of course, you can use them like this if you really wanted to. Now, the D-pad, it's a bit clicky, you know, it's one of those crunchy ones. So just take a listen to this. Can you hear that? Not my favorite. It's not my favorite. It's the biggest letdown for me is the D-pad, but it always is. They never really get to do it well. Like the best D-pad I've ever felt, and I always say it, is the Retro Flag one, you know, the GameCube style like docking thing. That had the best D-pad of any like Joy-Con alternative I've tried, but this is okay. You know, if you're going to use it as like not so often, fine. But if your main thing is D-pad, like probably don't bother. So now let's put them on the Switch. So I'm going to click them on like this. And yes, you can charge them through the console, or you can charge them via the USB-Cs on either side, but why would you do that? Just dock them, dock the console, and then there you go. And of course, if I turn the console off, then it does turn the lights off as well. Some people, for some reason, always ask me, can you like wake from sleep from the home button whilst they're attached? Why? Like, just press the power button on the top, but let's try it. I've not actually tried it. Yeah, there you go. So you can do that. Honestly, I think it looks really cool. You've got the big, you know, side bits there. It does step off of the back of the Switch just a little bit. So there is like a bit of a gap, but honestly, you don't feel that because you're not even holding this, and it's flush with the front, which I really like. So you can see that it's flush on the front just there, which is cool. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, I'm playing Pikmin right now. So whilst I'm playing Pikmin, let's just show you the turbo. So I'm going to put it to B, which is this whistle, right? So I'm going to press turbo and B, and then I'm going to hold it down, and I'm just going to start whistling like crazy. If I press turbo and B again, you know, he's going to just go mad and just automatically keep pressing that button for me. And you can change the speed of the turbo as well, which is pretty cool. But it does have macro as well on the back. So what I'm going to do is press M, and you can record up to 20 actions. So I'm going to press M, I'm going to press B, I'm going to press A, I'm going to press A, I'm going to press A, and let go. And now I'm going to press that right, you know, macro button. And now he's going to just do that action over and over again, you know, basically. Well, just once. It's going to play for it once, unless I signed turbo to it. But if I wanted to cancel that, I just press M once, and now that button's not doing anything, right? But what's really cool is it actually has a true button swap, and you don't need to do anything else either. You can just press macro and press the button once, and then that will actually become a button swap. And what I mean by this is it's an actual button swap. It's not just like a 1 second record of the macro. So let's say on Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where Link charges his sword and then spins, you wouldn't be able to do that if it's just recorded a 1 second macro. It would just basically play that 1 second of you hitting the button. So if you press and held, he wouldn't charge it up unless it had proper button swap, and this does that. This has button swap where you can press and hold that button on the back, and it will actually act as a button swap, as well as then being able to do macro if you do more than one button press. And I think that's brilliant, like, because it really frustrates me when some controllers say button swap. No, it's not button swap, it's just like a 1 second record of macro, if that makes sense. But this has both. Right, so now I'm going to turn the console off, and I'm just going to give you a sound test of the buttons, right? Because loads of people keep asking me for that. So this is the face buttons. Shoulder buttons. Controller stick in. Plus button. But the biggest thing here, of course, is they have Hall effect sensors, finally! So, Hall effect sensing joysticks, if you didn't know, let's just do a really quick recap. Most controllers use potentiometer sticks, right? And that uses friction to record the input by like a change of voltage and stuff. So, over time, that can cause drift and lower accuracy as well. It's not always as accurate, so you often find like slightly greater dead zones and stuff in them as well. But this has Hall effect sensing joysticks, which has magnets. So it uses magnets just like the Dreamcast did back in the day. They were ahead of the time. It uses magnets which never contact, right? Because there's a magnetic field. So not only is there no wear, so there's basically no drift ever, potentially. It's also more accurate because that slight movement in that magnetic field is much quicker at like responding, so you get less dead zone as well. So let's just test it out on the configuration. So I'm going to calibrate control sticks. I'm going to open it up, right? And then you're going to see this. I'm going to try and barely touch it. I'm very barely touching it, and it is moving immediately, right? So there's, I would say, like a 0.01% dead zone, as opposed to most controllers have like a 1%, right? So it's much greater. There's still like a tiny bit, but this is obviously by far better than any normal Joy-Con or any other controller out there that doesn't have Hall effect sticks. I've found with all the controllers I've tested, anything with Hall effect sticks just has better dead zone. It has less dead zone, it's more accurate, and they're just nicer to use. They feel really good as well. Like, they roll so well. They're so quick at registering, but the resistance is really, really nice. But really, these are way, way better. But my biggest gripe here is the lack of HD rumble. I would love to see HD rumble in these, and as well as that D-pad. It just needs to still get a little bit better. But overall, I absolutely love these, but how much are they? So these retail for about $60. That's what they are on the BinBok website. Yes, you can get a discount code down in the description if you want to purchase them using our code. Yes, it is an affiliate link. Thank you very much if you want to support us. But personally, I think these are the best Joy-Con alternatives I've used. You know, the Hall effect sensing joystick, that just wins. It's an ultimate win, and I prefer the design as well. I like the RGBs and everything else there. So the biggest setbacks for me, lack of HD rumble, you know, the lack of a good D-pad. But other than that, they're perfect, and I'm gonna continue to use these. The ergonomics and everything else is amazing. I'm just gonna leave these on my Switch now because I mainly play Switch handheld, and this is gonna do it for me. So what are your thoughts of the new DOYOKY Hall effect sensing joystick, Joy-Cons, whatever you wanna call them? Let me know down in the comments whilst you're down there. Like this video, subscribe. Make sure you go over and check out me and AJ on the podcast channel up here. Check out another video from me down here. And well, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.